The problem is you have to take out an engine and transmission out of the vehicle. Usually they're connected to the subframe and suspension. Using conventional tools such as a jack stand or a floor jack can be very troublesome and sometimes dangerous. There are solutions from the manufacturer, but they're very expensive and they're very large and they occupy a full bay in your shop. The solution is the AGA Lift Table. We have created a table that's large enough to do most jobs with a lifting capacity of 1,500 pounds, but yet small and compact enough that it can be stored in any place of the shop. This lift table goes all the way down to 18.5 inches of platform height, which makes it very comfortable for the technician to work on it, and all the way up to 68.5 inch platform height, fully extended. This allows you to stand up straight, position the fixtures, and adjust them to the vehicle. Let me show you some of the features on this table and how to use it. But before we get started, make sure you read the warnings posted on the table. Here we're going to go over the table and how to use different attachments in order to attach it to the subframe of the engine and transmission assembly. In this case, we're going to take the engine out of a 7 Series BMW, and it's going to come out complete engine, subframe, transmission as an assemble on top of the table here. If you're doing the process, have to lower the vehicle down, and you get interference between the front bumper radiator assembly and the handle right here. The handle can very easily be lowered out of the way. You start with releasing the knobs on both sides and then pulling the handle back like this, and it can be locked into 5 different positions so you have easy use and moving the table around. You start with centering the table from left to right directly under the vehicle and front to rear under the engine and transmission assembly, so that it is not off to one or another side that can cause the table to be unstable when the platform is up at height. If you need a little guidance, inside of this transmission adapter is a plumb bob that can help you index the table correctly. This plumb bob is mounted on a ratcheting tether, and it has a magnetic attachment you can put directly on the center of the bottom of the engine. Then elevate it up to where it's just above the table. The plumb bob gives you an indication right here, very accurately to the center. If need be, use a tape measure to find the edges of the engine transmission assembly and how it's going to place on the table. This plumb bob can also be used when it comes to putting the engine back into the chassis. Put this on a point on the chassis, let it hang down, and align it with the bolt point on the subframe, and you will not have to move the table around once it is elevated. Once you're in position, raise the table up to where it's about 6 to 8 inches away from the engine assembly. If you have a heavy load on the table, right here is a high-low speed for the pump that reduces the lifting rate and makes it much easier to operate. It also speeds up the process of lifting when you're in a high position. Now we select the fixtures that we want to move up in the table and use to attach to the points in the subframe and transmission. You can select a long or a short fixture depending on your application. This will vary from car to car. Note that as you're turning up this bolt, there is a warning indicator. Do not turn it past this point. As you can see, the fixture can slide from left to right, front to rear. Position it directly under the hole in the subframe or engine brace or wherever you're going. Elevate it by turning the bolt and the contact point up into the hole in the subframe. Turn it all the way up by hand until it makes contact like that. Then tighten down the fixture in the position on the table. Repeat this process until all the fixtures are correctly positioned and into the attachment points on the subframe. Now that we're ready to remove the subframe bolts and lower the engine down, one very important thing. Make sure the vehicle is balanced on the lift. If you have to, secure the back of the vehicle to the lift so that the car doesn't tilt down or up due to removing this massive amount of weight from the vehicle. Now that we're ready to lower the engine assembly down, you have two options. One, you can step on the pedal right here, which will do rapid lowering. Or two, you have a hand control lever right here that you can bring up and stand up here with the engine. This hand control allows you to push hoses, wiring harnesses, etc. out of the way while you do a very controlled lowering right here, as well as observing if anything is getting caught or interfering with the lowering of the engine. Now the engine is all the way down. Do not attempt to move the cart unless the engine is all the way in a lowered position. Now the engine is down in a nice comfortable height where you can perform any repairs needed. To show you how universal this table really is, here let's demonstrate it on a Porsche. Whether it's a mid-engine or a rear engine, it's very, very easy to use the adapters to any configuration. Here we'll take a spike and put it right into the front cam housing that has a nice big hole and location area like that. On the right front of the engine, we'll take a soft mount and come right up on the bottom of the cylinder housing, obviously adjusted to height where they fit nicely in. Here on the right rear, another big hole right in the case that's easy to go up and locate it with a spike. And on the left rear, there's another soft pad coming up, contacting right on the bottom of the cylinder head. I really like to use 4 points on the engine because it stabilizes the engine. And if you have to separate the engine and the transmission once it is out and down out of the car, it is much easier when you have 4 points on the engine. In the back, we're going to use a spike mount coming up right into the hole of the transmission. And if you like to support it further, you can put another soft mount right up on the housing like so, or cross member, or however you choose. The possibilities truly are endless. Now that all the fixtures are tightened down to the table and making contact to the engine and transmission in the correct spots, all that is left is to secure it down against the table with the supplied ratcheting straps. The attachment point can be moved to any position on the table like that, clicked into the ratcheting straps, and you can secure the engine down firmly against the engine like so. That's all there is to it. Now we're ready to lower the engine and transmission assembly out of the car. If you have the engine out sitting here and the transmission sitting here, this crossbar that comes with the table can be installed onto two fixtures. The adjusters are threaded internally so that this can bolt right onto it like that. And that provides a very nice platform that can be resting on the bottom of the transmission, like under the pan in this area. This provides a very nice platform with the crossbar in the front and this height adjustable contact pad in the back, and it can sit onto the bottom of the transmission. At this point, if the engine is secured, you can remove the fastening bolts from the fixtures and slide the entire section back like this on the table. This will allow access to rear seals, torque converter seals, etc. easily. These force-applied rubber pads are ideal to remove a very heavy battery out of an all-electric car or hybrid vehicle. Another feature is a transmission head adapter. This head adapter fits onto a long fixture that you can install on the center of the head and secure it with 2 bolts. Remove the transmission head adapter from the bracket where it's stored on the side and slide it over. This provides a nice level platform for you to install an existing transmission head, as well as a supplied ratchet and tie downs. Gives you a good way to secure it to the table. For more information on this lift table and to get yours and make your life easier, go to agatools.com. As always, thanks for watching and remember to subscribe.